Go all the way until the end. That's what I kept telling myself on a day when everything seemed to work against me. I don't know why I held on so tightly to those words. Maybe because, even though they sound simple, they carry a kind of challenge I wasn't sure I could meet. Or maybe because, in a strange way, I felt that if I stopped now even for a moment, I would lose something important. Not something material, but something of myself. It all started on an ordinary morning. I woke up with a long list of things to do, and that feeling of I don't want to do anything. You know that feeling when you look at the day ahead and wish you could skip it, like a boring chapter in a book? That was me. I grabbed my backpack and left the house without much enthusiasm. But somewhere in the back of my mind, I had the sense that this day would test me, and I was right. On the way, the bus broke down. I was late. I forgot something important at home, and people seemed more rushed and irritated than usual. Everything pushed me toward the idea that it would have been so much easier to give up on my plans and go back to bed. But I didn't. When everything becomes noise and chaos, I like to walk without a fixed destination. So after hours of small frustrations piling up, I decided to walk home, taking the long route through a quiet area. There, in the silence, thoughts start to settle on their own, without me forcing them. And then, in that cold air, I said to myself again, go all the way until the end. It didn't sound like a command, more like a plea, a gentle push, and I wondered, the end of what? The end of the day, the end of my effort, the end of a plan. Or maybe it's an imaginary end, one I create wherever I choose to stop. I kept walking, and with each step, something inside me started to clear up. Not completely, but enough to feel that tightness inside me loosen a little. I realized that it wasn't the tasks that scared me. It was the idea that maybe I wasn't good enough to finish what I started, that maybe I gave up too easily, that I got lost in small things and let myself be crushed by tiny obstacles. A childhood memory came back to me. I was trying to build a kite. In my mind, it was perfect, colorful, with a long tail flying high over the field. But the actual project was a disaster. The paper kept tearing, the sticks wouldn't stay glued together, and I was frustrated with every mistake. At one point, I was so angry that I wanted to throw everything away. But my grandfather, who had been watching me from a distance, came closer and said calmly, if you start something, take it as far as you can, even if it doesn't turn out perfect. Going all the way docenti mean achieving perfection. It means not running away before you see what it could become. Back then, I didn't fully understand, but now I realize how many times I ran away before seeing what something could turn into. A project, a friendship, an idea, or even myself. I stopped at the top of a small hill and sat on a rock. I looked down at the busy city while the wind slipped through my clothes. In that quiet moment, I told myself that maybe this phrase, go all the way, until the end, isn't about finishing things, but about courage, about not giving up on yourself when things get messy, about not judging yourself too harshly, about learning to breathe, to continue, to be gentle with yourself but still determined. I looked at my hands and realized how many things they had held, how many successes and how many abandoned attempts, and I felt something like a beginning, not explosive enthusiasm, not a dramatic revelation, just a warm calm, as if a circle inside me was closing and a new one was beginning. I started walking again, this time with steadier steps. It didn't feel as heavy anymore. It felt like my breathing had settled and my thoughts had lined up on their own. On the way, I stopped by an old tree. Its trunk was full of cracks, yet it stood there strong after who knows how many storms. And I thought, maybe I should be like that too. Except that my path can have pauses, but doesn't need final, irreversible endings. When I reached my neighborhood, the sky had turned orange. The sunset looked soft, like a quiet promise. And that S, when I realized something important. I, Dan T, need to reach the end of a perfect day to feel like I succeeded. It's enough that I didn't stop completely, that I didn't turn back just because the morning went badly. It's enough that I kept going. That evening, before falling asleep, I took a notebook and wrote on a blank page, go all the way until the end. Not as a motivational slogan, but as a reminder of a seemingly ordinary day that taught me that sometimes the path becomes clearer only after you walk through the fog. And maybe that S, how it always is, in the moments when you feel you have the most reasons to give up, that's exactly when your real strength is tested. And real strength isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about not letting yourself disappear from your own journey. Now, when I think about that phrase, I don't hear it as a demand. I hear it as a promise to myself. A promise that no matter how difficult the road becomes, I will keep going. Maybe slowly, maybe with breaks, maybe with doubts, but I will keep going. Because IVA understood the end ISNT, where the road stops at S, where I choose not to give up on myself.